Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. The path to your first rental property. What nobody tells you. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Dion, and every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I dive deep into the journey towards your financial freedom through buy and hold with rental properties. My goal is to teach the average individual you can reach financial freedom and make work completely optional in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position. Today, I'm going to tackle the topic that I know a lot of you have been asking about: the path to your first rental property. I have videos that dive into each one of these topics. Mostly, people tend to talk about rainbows and kittens. They usually don't mention that the flood caused the rainbow and the kitten attacked your neighbor and got you sued. Now, if you've been doing your research, you've probably heard all the usual advice. Find a good deal, get your financing in order, and you're good to go. But here's the thing. All these things nobody seems to talk about. I want to break down 5 key challenges that most new investors face when buying their first rental property. Understanding these from the start can save you a ton of money, time, and stress. Let's get right into it. This is where most people get stuck right out of the gate. Finding the right property. One that fits your budget and actually cash flows. It's a lot harder than you would think. A lot of first-time investors focus on properties that look good on paper, but end up sitting vacant or attracting bad tenants because they're in the wrong neighborhood. It's crucial to understand local economy, job growth, and vacancy rates. Just because Zillow says it's a good price doesn't mean it's a good investment. I remember when I first started out, I nearly pulled the trigger on a property that was super cheap. But after digging deeper, it was in a really bad market that would have had a high vacancy rate. It would have been a disaster. Google McKinley Avenue, Tacoma, Washington. The second challenge is financing. If you've ever applied for a mortgage, you know the process can be ridiculous. But when it comes to investment properties, the stakes are even higher. Lenders are much more strict because you're not living in the property. They want to see a strong credit score, solid income, and sometimes even experience as a landlord, making those first 2 years the most challenging. There's a lot of different mortgages. There's traditional, conventional loans, FHA, VA, debt service coverage ratio loans, portfolio loans, and each one has its own hurdles. And it's not just about getting approved, it's also about covering closing costs, mortgage insurance, money for immediate repairs, keeping those reserves the lenders require. A lot of first-time investors get blindsided by those extra costs. The third challenge is unexpected repairs and maintenance costs. This one catches a lot of people off guard. Even if the inspection comes back clean, there are almost always surprises. I'm talking about things like plumbing issues, electrical problems, roof repairs. That's why I always recommend setting aside at least 15% of your rental income for maintenance and capital expenses. In that first year, expenses will feel like they're coming right out of your pocket, because they are. I remember one of my properties that looked perfect during the inspection. But 6 months in, I was replacing a water heater and fixing a leaky roof. These things add up fast if you're not prepared. The fourth challenge that a new investor faces is tenant screening and management. A bad tenant can make your life miserable. It's not just about getting that rent check on time. It's about minimizing property damage and avoiding tenant turnover. Rushing to fill a vacancy without proper screening is a common rookie mistake. You need background checks, credit checks, and solid references. Otherwise, you can end up with late payments or worse, an eviction, or 4, like my friend Chesla did. My first experience with a bad tenant taught me everything I needed to know about proper screening. Since then, I've been strict with my criteria, and it's made all the difference. The fifth challenge with that first rental property is managing cash flow. You have to know your numbers. It's not enough to collect rent. You need to factor in property taxes, insurance, vacancies, and maintenance. Overestimating rent and underestimating costs is the fastest way to end up with a property that's costing you money every single month. When I first started, I made the mistake of only budgeting for the mortgage, property tax, and insurance. I didn't account for vacancies, unexpected repairs. That ate my cash flow really quick. I definitely didn't plan on my tenant moving out and renting the house to someone else and keeping the rent. So those are 5 major challenges I see most often with first-time rental investors. If you can tackle these head on, you'll be ahead of the game. Now I want to hear from you. What's the biggest obstacle holding you back from buying your first rental property? Drop your questions in the comments section and let's get answers that will save you time and money. Have a day full of awesome.